Well, hey there, you're on the internet, I'm unemployed, and welcome to the Triple N Network, where all you newbie nib nerds can find all the news you'll need. Let's look at an ink now, shall we? Today's ink is Noodler's Kiowa Pecan, which is actually a recent acquisition of mine, at least in a full bottle form. I had it in a sample and had, for the first time probably ever, gone all the way through a sample. And I used it in this fine point preppy with an 03 nib, and in a Nemosine Singularity with a 0.8 stub nib. Maybe you can see that. It's a beautiful brown color, which you can see even in this swab that I put on the top. It has a rich goldenness. It can go down into sort of almost a walnutty brown. It's got great shading. Here's the chromatography. You can see that it has this base layer, actually a lot like Noodler's walnut, but then it has this beautiful golden orange color. It's fantastic. It shades fantastically. It's the whole reason why I bought it. It resists water a little. It's definitely still readable, but look at that color. I mean, it looks like buttered toast or something. It's just a delicious brown. And I don't have many browns. I have Noodler's walnut and I'm very happy with it, but this is just a gorgeous color. I mean, look at the shading in that 0.8 nib. It's just beautiful. And the dry time was pretty good considering the density of this paper. It's very impressive. I'm glad that I bought a whole bottle of it. No, there was no bleed, no feather, no spread, and because it's such a light ink, it would be very easy and very comfortable, not distracting at all to write on the other side. Up next is Rhodia, 80 gram per square meter. This I used the Preppy. Again, just beautiful shading. Hopefully this will come through a little. I mean, God, look at that. That's just gorgeous. Like I said, it's like buttered toast or something. Water resistance was good. I went over the capital letters a couple times because I wanted to show that in a heavier writing pen, it'll resist water more. The more ink you put down that can be absorbed into the paper, the more it'll resist water later on down the line, should you spill something on it. Up next is Mead notebook paper, which should be recognizable to just about any school child in the United States. And this is what really amazed me. You still get shading on this cheap paper. I hope you can see that. I hope that comes through. But that's just gorgeous. If you're forced to use cheap, terrible paper, an ink that can still retain its character is fantastic. And it's still dried fairly quickly. Not instantly, but quickly. Bleed through was so minimal, and the shade is so light that, you know, unless you're really picky, you could write on the other side. It wasn't until the water test that things started to get ugly. And something that I noticed was that the bleed through tended to be on the edges. It's way down here at the bottom of the page, or it's along the side. It was something very odd that I noticed, but even still, after the water test, it's still readable. There was some spread, but fantastic performance. Here on just your basic 20-pound copy paper, no. Some of that is my fingerprints. I guess I was just over eager and I just whatever, but you still get shade, you still get that great character, you can still see the richness, you can still see the buttery lightness. It dries fairly quickly, it still resists water. I mean, look at that. That's perfectly readable. It didn't stain the paper around it. It turned that sort of grayish brown color that walnut ink turns when you try and wash it away. Here, on the Moleskine paper, there was a lot of spread, which is sort of, I don't know, I almost want to say that I was unfair. I used the Nemosine Singularity, which was the broader of the two nibs, just to sort of see how it would do. but even still, it spread a lot. But look, no feathering, which those of you who are familiar with Moleskine paper, it's akin to a miracle. So when it comes to brown inks, I mean, my two inks for Moleskine paper are they're both brown. It's going to be Kiowa Pecan, and it's going to be Noodler's Walnut, because look at that, you still get some shading, you still get that buttery toast color, you get character. And look, the bleed through, even that is minimal. I mean, if you're not super picky, you know, if you're okay with, you know, writing on both sides even with bleed through, you'd be perfectly happy using this on Moleskine paper. I, however, am not. I am a picky person, but I mean, you've got great shading, you've got actually pretty beautiful bottle art, and it's a very well-behaved ink, and it does well in drier writing pens and the cheaper papers of the world. I highly recommend it. I think you should go out and get some, and best of luck from the Triple N Network. So long.